My thesis is that immigrants should be required to learn/speak the English language if wanting to become a citizen and or live in the United States. Right now, only immigrants wanting citizenship in the United States are required to pass a test, whereas immigrants only looking for a temporary license like a green card do not. The Senate, I think, should pass an amendment that would require immigrants to take provisions to improve their English while also passing a civics test, given the fact that we, the United States, provide tools to help immigrants succeed to provide English proficiency. This would include providing English learning establishments, hiring tutors, creating pamphlets, and forming specific classes for this issue. The provisions and amendments have already been forming in these last few years. On the website Official English, 31 states have at least some form of official English legislation on their mindset. 9 states have already offered driver's license exams limited in English, and out of these 9, Oklahoma has required only English proficiency in order to obtain a license. In 2002, 2 out of 3 immigrant-born adults said that the United States should expect all immigrants to learn English, which this was provided in the Public Agenda Survey. Another survey from the 2014 congressional and senatorial candidates provided could be very beneficial in the establishment of the amendment. Out of the 50 states, 27 states complied their opinion on the survey. The results were according to the Rashomon reports that stated 83% of Americans wanted English to be the official language. In no other issue can you find so many Americans from different backgrounds in total agreement. And 32 states have passed some form of official English laws. Recently passed states are West Virginia, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Idaho. There are many benefits that come along with learning English and accepting the amendment to do so. Stated on Pro English's website, having English as a main language prevents the cost of foreign language translation services on the U.S. taxpayer, meaning pretty much all of us. On average, did you know it costs $1.86 million to prepare written translation for food recipients nationwide? The cost for oral translation is $21 million nationally each year. We would be saving at least partially this much with a common language. Another benefit would that immigrants would understand what Americans expect out of them. France, Great Britain, Germany, and among the European countries are moving towards the requirement of English as their main language for the person to have the right to become a citizen. Learning the language would also help immigrants be involved in government services, democratic processes, and promote unity. In December 1992, the Monthly Labor Review published a study that found that immigrants are slower to learn English when they receive a lot of native support. This would knock down language barriers that keep many from success. Promoting the idea of requiring English empowers the immigrants. Census data showed that an immigrant's income increases 30% when learning English. With English, immigrants wouldn't fail economically, academically, or even socially. Common language would allow people to find unity within their diversity. The amendment provide a variety of things to ensure immigrants get a quality education. According to the Prospects article, Why Make Them Learn English is the key to immigrant reform. This would provide a right to enroll, vouchers and charters, accountability, funding, and civil rights. Each state will be in charge in providing which they think is appropriate along these guidelines. By having these rules and guidelines, the amendment is guaranteed to increase the percentage of English becoming the main language. Now, when researching for solutions to the problem of what seemed like a hot commodity, I discovered a story which I thought was quite relevant to my case. Dylan Matthews, a young adult who lived in a culturally diverse family, explains that it's not the matter of if the requirement is going to happen, but when it's going to happen. He tells of a story on how his great-grandparents came to America as adults, which then they knew very little English. As for his grandparents, who came when they were children, they were bilingual. As you can see, the language altercation started having a rippling effect on future generations. For Dylan Matthews' parents, they could follow a conversation in Yiddish, whereas Dylan and his siblings could only understand Yiddish snippets. This personal story made me come to the realization that the requirement will accelerate the learning curve. In contrast, if the law isn't passed, sooner, more than later, immigrants will soon evolve into becoming an American. Ability to speak English is at the center of the national debate of immigrant reform, and proposals such as Pathway to Citizenship are offered by former President Obama and the Congress. As you can see, there are more benefits for everyone to be capable of speaking English instead of the other way around. Which leads me to a quote by Eric Pickles, British Secretary of State for Communities and Local Government. He states that a community of broken English is no community at all, which, in my opinion, means that if we can't come together in mutual language, how are we supposed to come together as a nation? Which leads me to my other point. We should instead follow the famous Latin quote, E pluribus unum. Relevant to my topic, with many different languages, there should only be a common one.